Hello, darlings. You're welcome to Z-Star Africa, your home of sizzling drama recaps. Let's dive deep into the betrayals, heartbreaks, jealousy, and shocking twists in Sacred Love's upcoming episodes. Moments you never saw coming that will keep you right at the edge of your seat. From Adrija's burning jealousy that pushes her over the edge, to Ramber standing tall, protecting Megla from her deadly schemes, to Megla finally finding her voice and fighting back. Every moment burns with fire and passion. And just when the storm seems to calm, Adrija flips the game upside down, twisting the truth, trapping Ramber, and making her boldest move yet. Please like and turn on your notifications for more of your favorites. It only gets more interesting. Let's dive in. It all started with a big celebration in the Bajwa family in honor of Megla's victory in the Superstar Sangeet singing competition. Everyone was proud, especially Ramber's father, who proudly invited the couple to take the spotlight. The guests admired her gift, courage, and calmness. Megla, overwhelmed by the love, thanked both her in-laws and her own family for their support. The guests cheered as Megla and Ramber were asked to cut a celebratory cake. Adrija, standing in the crowd, couldn't take it anymore. All the admiration, the love, it should have been hers, she thought. Bitterness grew inside her as she watched Megla bask in the glow of success. Later, Meher was encouraged by her husband to sing, something she once gave up for the family. Her voice filled the room, and everyone joined in, celebrating her and encouraging her to chase the dream she once gave up for the family. Then came Megla's turn to sing. But behind the smiles, Adrija plotted revenge. She secretly slipped something harmful into Megla's drink, hoping to destroy her moment. She tried to sway Ramber, but he was no fool. Just as Megla was about to take a sip, he smashed the glass from her hand. Ramber told them what Adrija had plotted. Every moment she had tried to sabotage Megla. He threatened Adrija with handing her over to the police. Adrija stormed out, and Mahua went after her. Chandan broke down before the family, ashamed of Adrija's behavior toward Megla. He apologized, but Megla gently comforted him, saying it wasn't his fault. Sometimes life itself twists people's hearts. Perm disagreed, calling out Adrija for always being in the wrong. Bulvir defended Adrija, saying everyone was too quick to judge. Zoravar suggested they hear her out, but Ramber refused, saying she didn't deserve another chance. When Mahua returned with Adrija, tensions rose even more. She urged Adrija to speak and scolded Chandan for not standing by her. Adrija began to cry, claiming no one would believe her anyway. Ramber mocked her, and Mahua stepped in to defend her daughter. Zoravar asked Adrija to tell the truth, but she twisted the story, pretending innocence and blaming Ramber for her misery. Furious, Ramber accused her again, and Adrija stormed off, saying she was leaving for good. Just as she was about to go, Zoravar stopped her, saying she wasn't leaving until the truth was clear. Ramber, fed up, decided to send the spiked juice for forensic testing. Megla agreed, saying the test results would speak louder than words. Ramber vowed that if Adrija was innocent, he would do whatever she asked, but if she was guilty, she would face the consequences. Adrija agreed, secretly plotting to manipulate the results to turn things in her favor. Moments later, Perm proudly showed Megla a painting he made just for her. Touched, Megla thanked him warmly. Simran excitedly planned a shopping trip for Megla, while Harman thought of doing something special too. Arjun teased Ramber, saying he should gift Megla something nice. But instead of a present, Megla said she'd rather have a family outing, and Ramber happily agreed. Adrija, watching all this, grew bitter with jealousy. Later, Meher learned that Shabnam was coming over and praised Megla for bringing everyone closer again. When Shabnam arrived, she was welcomed with open arms. Megla joked that she would ask for a gift later, and Shabnam laughed, agreeing. Simran took Shabnam inside and pointedly kept Arjun out. Meanwhile, the elders discussed the idea of Arjun marrying Shabnam. Arjun said it depended on her. Meanwhile, Shabnam told Ramber, Megla, and Simran that she couldn't marry Arjun because he didn't truly understand her. Ramber gently explained that Arjun's actions came from love and asked her to think again. Back at home, Meher pressed Arjun for an answer and told him to stop worrying about Shabnam's side. Feeling cornered, Arjun finally agreed to the marriage, though deep down, he was still unsure of what Shabnam would decide. Balveer was confident Ramber and the others would convince her. Meghla and Simran pleaded with Shabnam to give Arjun a chance, while Harman teased Ramber about his own love life. Elsewhere, at the Sun House, Chandan told Mahua they needed to talk. He warned her that if Adrija ever harmed Meghla again, she must face the consequences. Mahua became defensive, accusing him of doubting their daughter. Chandan gently said that as parents, it was their duty to guide her, even if the truth hurt. Both got emotional. Mahua blamed Ramber for Adrija's pain, but Chandan disagreed, saying marrying Ramber wouldn't have solved anything. Love should never come at the cost of someone else's happiness, he said softly. Over at Meghla's side, Shabnam finally admitted that Arjun's feelings did matter to her. Encouraged by Meghla and the others, she agreed to marry him, and the house burst into joy. Meghla ran off to share the good news. But just as happiness filled the air, Mahua broke down, blaming herself for ever bringing Meghla into their lives. Chandan comforted her, saying she mustn't think that way. Mahua insisted on bringing Adrija home, though Chandan said Adrija didn't want to return. The mood shifted sharply when Meghla announced Shabnam's agreement, and the whole family started celebrating, only for the police to arrive at the door, asking for Meghla. Everyone froze in shock. Ramber and Zoravar introduced themselves and politely asked why he was there. The inspector simply repeated that he wanted to meet Meghla. Ramber assumed it was about the hijacking case and explained that it was already resolved. Before he could say more, Adrija jumped in, accusing Meghla out of nowhere and hinting she might even end up in jail. Ramber lost his patience and warned her to stop, but she kept going. Meghla calmly told Ramber to let it go and stepped forward to speak with the inspector herself. The inspector, noticing the family's nervousness, finally revealed the truth. The government had decided to honor Meghla with a Bravery medal. The entire family lit up with pride and joy, except for Adrija, whose face darkened with jealousy. The inspector praised Meghla's courage and left. Everyone gathered around to congratulate Meghla. Zoravar said he didn't know whether to apologize or praise her for everything she had done. Meghla smiled and told him to forget the past. She was just happy Ramber had returned home safely. The family reminded her how big of an honor this medal was, while Adrija forced a fake smile, pretending to be happy. Later that night, Meghla visited Adrija in her room. Adrija congratulated her, but quickly complained about being left out of Arjun's wedding news. Meghla sympathized and shared how she once felt the same after marrying into the family. But her tone changed as she confronted Adrija for constantly trying to undermine her. Adrija pretended not to understand, but Meghla firmly warned her. She was willing to help her change, but if she kept walking this path, no one would be able to protect her from the consequences. Adrija snapped, angrily accusing Meghla again, and vowed she would take Ramber away from her. Meghla, though hurt, stood her ground and replied firmly that she would never let that happen. The next morning, the family discussed Arjun and Shabnam's wedding. Ramber, on the other hand, tried to have a romantic moment with Meghla, but she gently reminded him the family was waiting downstairs. They shared a quiet laugh before talking about Adrija. Ramber vowed that if the lab test proved Adrija's guilt, he wouldn't let her get away with it. Meghla, with a heavy heart, said she still hoped the results would come back clean. Ramber sighed, saying prayers wouldn't change the results, and urged her to focus on Arjun's wedding instead. Later, Adrija heard the doorbell. It was the lab report. Panic flickered in her eyes as she remembered Ramber's vow to expose her. Determined not to lose, she vowed revenge. When Meher spotted her looking suspicious, Adrija quickly hid the envelope and made up an excuse. Meher sensed something was wrong, but simply prayed for peace in the family. Alone in her room, Adrija snapped a photo of the report and edited it on her laptop, twisting the truth in her favor. Soon, Ramber and his cousins returned from shopping for Arjun's wedding. Meher scolded them playfully for leaving her out. They apologized and showed her the outfits and gifts they had picked, making everyone laugh and cheer. Just then, Adrija stormed in, demanding to know why she was being excluded from the wedding plans. Ramber sharply told her she was no longer part of their family. Adrija fired back, saying he shouldn't accuse her until the lab results were out. Simran challenged her again, but Adrija stood firm, pretending to be calm. Moments later, a delivery man arrived with the official lab report. Everyone fell silent. Adrija confidently urged Ramber to open it. When he finally did, his face froze. The report showed a negative result. Meghla shared the news with the family, trying to convince Ramber that maybe Adrija truly didn't do it. Zoravar, however, stayed by Ramber's side, unsure what to believe. Then, in a shocking twist, Adrija smirked and threatened to file an FIR against Ramber for mental harassment and defamation. The family stood in stunned silence. Meghla, furious, yelled "Didib Hai!" for the first time in anger. Ramber, holding back his rage, asked Adrija what she really wanted. With cold confidence, Adrija replied, she wanted him to divorce Meghla. The room fell silent as everyone stared at her in disbelief. Meghla, stunned, called out to her sister, but Adrija cut her off coldly, telling her to stay quiet. She accused Meghla of stealing Ramber from her and said that if Ramber was truly a man of his word, he should grant her this one wish. Meanwhile, Mahua received a phone call from Meher, who tearfully told her about Adrija's shocking demand. Mahua rushed to inform Chandan, and he was left speechless. He blamed Mahua for always taking Adrija's side, but Mahua insisted they needed to reach the Bajwa house before their daughter destroyed everything. They immediately left together. Back at the Bajwa home, Zoravar and Perm confronted Adrija, asking if she really meant what she said. But Adrija stood her ground, saying she would do whatever she wanted. She repeated her demand, asking Ramber once again to prove himself by divorcing Meghla. Ramber stayed silent, trying to control his anger. Meghla pleaded with Adrija to stop, and said she was even willing to sacrifice her career if that would bring peace. Ramber quickly stopped her, refusing to let her beg. Adrija smirked cruelly and mocked Meghla, calling Ramber her soon-to-be fiancé, shocking everyone in the room. The family pleaded with her to rethink her decision, but she refused to listen. Just then, Mahua and Chandan arrived and tried to talk sense into her. They begged Adrija to come home and not throw her life away. But Adrija's heart was full of bitterness. She accused Meghla of never being a real sister and blamed her for taking everything: love, fame, and happiness. When Chandan tried to calm her, Adrija spoke to him harshly, leaving Mahua heartbroken and furious. In tears, Adrija finally confessed that she was done pretending to be good. Her voice hardened as she declared that she would only return home once Ramber signed the divorce papers, leaving the entire family shattered. That's a wrap, fams. See you in the next. Much love.